Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be popping in a couple synths, a bass and an arpeggiated synth to be exact. So I am in my third group now, and let's go back to the song view. Now if you remember, in the first two sections we used the pad mode and the step sequencer and the pad mode again to get everything that we have going thus far. Well, in this section of the course you're going to get to see the keyboard mode on Maschine Jam, and this is really cool. So what I'm going to do is I've selected this group, the third group, right? And I am going to hold down on my keyboard Shift and Pad, okay? And that's going to bring up the keyboard mode. Basically, you can set this to be any type of scale. It can be chromatic, major, minor, and then you can play melodies, chords, whatever on these actual pads. So it's kind of cool. Now, if you see on the controller here, these slightly more illuminated, deeper kind of a illumination, those are the notes that are the root note of your scale. So you can change your scale by just literally touching the rotary knob here, just lightly grazing it. And you can choose different root notes. I'm on D3 right now because this track's in the key of D. And I've chosen minor. So that means I can hit literally any of these notes. And it's not going to be out of key per se. It may not fit with the chord progression at the time, but it's not going to be out of key. So it really takes away having to learn your scales. So if you have a music teacher who's like, learn your scales, be like, just buy Maschine Jam or Maschine. So let's check out how this works. I've pulled up an instance of a bass, and we will be using, for this, we're using Serum inside of Maschine, and it's a bass called Flume 01. It's from my sound set called Flume. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing in a bass progression using the keyboard mode. Now, it's quite easy and it's pretty seamless to do, actually. So I'm going to arm Maschine here, and we are going to pop it in. All right, so that works. Let's unarm the record and hit Shift and quantize to get things a little bit tighter, because I have a weird little transition here on this note that's coming at 2.4. It's kind of an interesting way to do it. So I believe I just moved that, and I just want to extend the length. All right, so that should work. Let's trim this up because there is glide on this patch. So things as mechanically perfect as they can for this. All right, so that looks good. Let's play it. All right, so now what we're going to do here is we're going to throw in a little bit of this arpeggiated pattern from another patch in Serum. Now, it is a patch that's kind of like a bell sound, and I put on an instance of output movement to really make this kind of sound weird, and I want to be able to have controls here on these pages for a plugin like movement where I can just do some really crazy stuff to it. All right, so what we got here is this sound. Okay, I'm going to transpose this up and off by hitting upwards on the D-pad. And we're going to play an arpeggiated pattern with this. So that movement right now that you hear is coming from movement, not Maschine. So I'm playing that manually. So what we're going to do to get the arpeggiator up, if you've ever used Maschine, you know there's a note repeat. Well, we're going to hold down Shift and note repeat, and now we have an arpeggiation where you can have things like different modes, like chord, played, up, down, down, that type of thing. We're going to keep it on played, and we're going to do an eighth note, and we're going to keep it just all this how it is. So now when I play the same pads, we have an arpeggiation, which is really cool. So I'm going to pop this in to our little track that we're making. So let's do this. All right, now because it is a arpeggiator, it should, in theory, quantize, but knowing my playing, there's no telling that it would, but it looks like we're good to go. So now, let's play this. All right, so we're going to go back to the touchpads now. We're going to hit level, and let's play this. We're going to go song and level. All right, so we have here, if we go back to the level, right? All right, so now what we can do is we're going to just double back and we can actually start to mix some of this stuff. So for instance, let's go back to the pad mode for my drum sound. Right, and we can turn that down. Let's go to the synth section. And let's turn down that ARP quite a bit. All right, now that ARP's not going to come in right there. I want it coming in probably at around bar 9 or somewhere around there, but for that arpeggiation. But that might change a little bit later. But next video, we'll be throwing in a piano sound. I will see you guys there.